Hey, Mikayla, how you doing? All right, let's go ahead and take a look. And I did move some of the pictures around to delete some, make the appearance of more cohesive and hopefully less jumpy for the eyes to follow. That's a really good point right there. I mean, that's something that's an advanced notion, that jumpy. That's called saccadic eye movements. It's based on eye saccades. It's SACCAD or ADE. I can't remember. But saccadic movements are the way the eye jumps around the page. Saccadic movements come from reading, and it's a term that we use in typography to with good optimal spacing and type, we have less saccadic movements through a paragraph and through a composition, and it becomes more comfortable because the eye isn't jumping around so much. We take that same principle and follow it to page composition, and we realize that the less we make the viewer jump around the page, the more comfortable they're going to be. So really good observation there. Everything else, I think, everything else makes good sense. So good job with your written description. Let's go ahead and jump right in. So the mock-ups are great. Really nice job there. Beautiful work. Great presentation. Love your process book. Thanks so much for being so complete with this presentation. I'm just going to go ahead and critique the work from right here, okay? As we can go. Let's just do it like this so we can see the live. All right, so the view in context. So let's go. This is a good piece. I love the ghosted effect around the type. I think it just really adds to concept. That's a good choice, and I think it works down here as well. So that's fantastic. Everything here is very good. I think one thing I might recommend is maybe try something with the table. I think the tables appear to be just like really stark, placed right up in there in a really stark way. Maybe start trying to duplicate, maybe run some filters and or blending modes, combinations of blending modes and transparencies to try to do something with that table and chairs. It's so stark right in there. It just doesn't look like it fits in this kind of ethereal setting. Did you see what I'm saying? It's just all of a sudden tables and chairs, boom, front and dead center, full opacity, and see what you can do there. It's not bad, don't get me wrong. It works. Definitely it works. I'm just wondering if we can't heighten the visual engagement of this area by maybe adding some combination blend modes, transparencies, filters, etc. Try it, see what you think. Don't force it. If you don't like it, this is perfectly fine. My only other recommendation is the typography in this piece. The center alignment really does not do a whole lot. And I know the whole thing is center aligned. So, maybe we should leave it the type center align. Try this. Take this paragraph right here, left align it, and see how it behaves in the composition. It might do a better job activating negative space over here specifically. Center alignment's really tough to read because when you have these staggering lines, and this again, these are saccadic movements right here, okay? So instead of coming to the end of the line and jumping to the beginning of the line and having a clean left margin to make it easier to jump to the beginning of each line, you've got these staggered lines, so it's going to create a lot of visual fatigue. A center alignment causes a lot of fatigue in type because you don't have this anchored left margin for which to guide the viewer back to the next line of type. Okay, so think about that. Try centering it, see how it works. If you like it, stick with it. If not, I think this is okay. It's not very long text, so it's not terrible. But it does cause those repeated eye movements that we talked about, okay? Great mock-up. My only other recommendation in this piece here is this logo right here. Let's try to get that into an area. Let's try to make that more prominent. Right now it's getting lost. We can't even see it right there. So if this was your travel agency, right, and you would say to the designers, oh, wait a second, we can't even see my logo. What's going on? So think about that. That might entail lifting the contact information in the composition to accommodate maybe the larger size or additional emphasis on that logo. Excuse me. Let's go ahead and move to the same thing with it. That logo's better, but it still could be a little bit more visible. This is much better, I think, but the same composition. I'm sorry, I don't mean this is much better. It's the poster, excellent. What I meant to say is this is much better than some of the recent iterations. So the work is definitely pointing in the right direction. Now, wondering if you can increase the contrast. Well, no, contrast is good. It's heaven. It's not a location. It's more of a thought. So that's good. Okay, the dogs and cats. Again, we're just kind of placed right there, really in a super prominent way. It's not a bad thing, but I'm just wondering again if you can't experiment with blending modes, transparencies, and filters and see if you can't come up with an interesting presentation there. Again, it's not. It's fine. It's great. Your campaign is great. It's beautiful. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's meeting all of the requirements and expectations of the assignment. So that's fantastic. Okay, this piece again, following your own lead. So this is fantastic. Really consistent piece here. Same thing though. That prominence of that. I'm just wondering. Just try to see what you can do with those placed images to make them a little less stark in the composition. This, where anything is possible, is great. But again, this travel information, what I would do over here is I would move this to the bottom corner. And then increase that logo. You can even keep that logo to the left side this time to get that information in the bottom corner. Increase that. And then emphasis will be right here and right here. Okay. All right. Other than that, I think you've done a fantastic job. Really good work. Your mock-ups are stellar, by the way. Really fantastic job. That's a cool technique, isn't it? One thing I would recommend in this mock-up right here, if I were using this for a mock-up, I would get in there with a clone stamp and remove that word link. But other than that, I think it's really fantastic. All right, so I love that. Nice proportions, really good job with that perspective filter, getting the posters into the proper perspective. This is fantastic. All right, good job. Any questions at all, please let me know, Mikayla. But really, really fantastic job. Thank you very much for sharing.